What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Max Kellerman on his show today. Max on Boxing says that you can make a credible case that Manny Pacquiao is the best pound-for-pound fighter ever. He made that case on his show today, and I'm going to debunk that statement by Max Kellerman, the ESPN boxing guru, quote-unquote. Quote-unquote. Look here, man. Manny Pacquiao is definitely in my top 10 pound-for-pound of all time, but he's not number one, and I can't make an argument for him being number one. He's not even in my top 5. He's top 10, so I think I got him number 9 on my list. Guy is a great fighter. I remember watching him when he fought Lawaba on a pay-per-view undercard. I can't remember what the main event was. I don't know if it was Lennox Lewis, Holyfield, a rematch, or exactly who it was. Sugar Shane Mosley, Fernando Vargas. I know he was on one of those pay-per-view undercards. He fought Lawaba. You know, Lawaba was a guy that they was saying was a guy that was one of those guys that wasn't well known on the national stage, but was getting mentioned for pound. He was supposed to be the heir apparent to Azuma Nelson, those great fighters from Africa that put on a lot of great fights in the lower class. And I remember watching that fight, man, and I was like, you know, Manny Pacquiao was, you know, it started that fight out just, you know, from round one, just using that hand speed and kind of overwhelming Lawaba with his hand speed and his just his aggressiveness and ferocity. But I kept watching that fight thinking like, okay, Lawaba, he's going to make adjustments. He's going to turn this around. He's just trying to figure this guy out. This guy's kind of awkward, kind of different, coming at him real aggressive. Maybe he didn't scout him that well, and maybe, you know, maybe he'll eventually figure him out, and he'll eventually make his move to, you know, to get back in this fight and possibly take over that fight. But it never happened, man. He beat the guy from pillar to post. Just he never could compete with Pacquiao hand speed and aggressiveness. He ended up stopping Lawaba. I think it was like about around 7, somewhere in there. I think it was in the first half of the fight, man. And I'll never forget that look that Lawaba had on his face. He was laying on his ground. He was blooded. He had that look like, man, what just hit me? I just got ran over and ran through like a freight train, man. He had that bewildered look like, man, I wasn't expecting this. This guy here that I fought, man, is just on another level. This guy here is just ferocity and hand speed is just something that I couldn't cope with. And I remember after that fight, I was thinking, well, Lawaba, he probably asked for a rematch. He probably was, had one of them off nights, maybe underestimated the guy, and maybe he'll look at the film and make some adjustment. But Lawaba never, ever, that I know of, never asked for a rematch. Never asked for a rematch. Never said I had an off night or nothing. He gave Pacquiao the crazy. He just beat me, man. Better man. And that just let me know that he, it wasn't that he overlooked him. He just was, ran across a better fighter. If they fought 7 days a week, Pacquiao would beat him 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. That's just, it just was a fighter that he could not beat on his best day, and he knew it. It wasn't the case that he overlooked him, which I thought was the case. It's just that he ran against a better fighter, man, a guy that he couldn't compete with the hand speed and aggressiveness. You mean Lawaba is a guy that's he's an aggressive fighter too. So if a guy's beating you in an aggressive category, and then he's beating you on the hand speed, and he's overwhelming you with volume of punches, you just can't keep up with the pace that he's setting. You just got to tip your hat to him, and that's what Lawaba did. He never asked for a rematch. So when I watched him, that's the first time I seen Pacquiao fight. And I knew then, I said, this guy here is the real deal. This guy is the real deal. And then when he fought De La Hoya later on in his career, coming up from the lightweight after he stopped Diaz, the lightweight, I was thinking, like, when I watched the Diaz fight, I was like, okay, he knocked Diaz out, I think maybe in the 9th round. But to me, he didn't have the power. His power wasn't carrying up to the lightweight from those lower weights when he fought Barrera and knocked him out, and end up knocking out Morales in the 3rd fight, and guys of that ilk. And even when he fought Juan Manuel Marquez, the first fight, he dropped him like 4 or 5 times, like 3 times in the first round, I think. And he had that pop. He didn't have that pop in the Diaz fight. He ended up knocking out Diaz, but it was more of accumulation of punches and power and just breaking them down. It wasn't that one punch stunning power that he was displaying in the lower weight. So I thought moving up from that weight, moving up from 135, when I thought he didn't have the same pop going from 135 to 147, fighting Oscar De La Hoya, who at the time was long in the tooth, but still was a good fighter. Just had got through beating Fernando Vargas, stopping him at actually at 154, junior middleweight. He fought Vargas at Vargas's weight, ended up stopping him. And I was thinking, man, De La Hoya, even though he's a little bit long in the tooth, and then before that he had fought Oscar De La Hoya, was very competitive against Floyd Mayweather. You know, a lot of people said the reason why he lost that fight was because he stopped using his jab in the second half of that fight, and Floyd Mayweather was able to take over and pot shot and use the jab and fight the fight on his terms and end up pulling away in the second half of that fight. A lot of people were like, man, De La Hoya would have won that fight if he would have kept using his jab. He would have beat Mayweather. But what they failed to realize, the reason why he stopped using the jab was Mayweather started timing that jab. He started timing that jab with straight rights and lead rights, and that made De La Hoya hesitant to shoot that jab, especially in the second half of the fight. That's why he lost that fight. But anyway, he was still considered a top-level fighter at the time, and I said, man, a lot of people thought, let me just give you the backstory to that Pacquiao De La Hoya fight. A lot of people thought Pacquiao was gonna get knocked out. They thought he was gonna get destroyed. They was like, man, this little man coming up here trying to fight a fighter like De La Hoya. He's gonna get knocked out. He's gonna get destroyed. And De La Hoya had to try to sell that fight before the fight took place. A lot of people like, man, De La Hoya, what you doing picking on this little man coming up from lower weights? Why are you fighting this guy? You know you're too big for this guy, man. You're gonna get in here and knock this guy out and destroy this guy. And De La Hoya had to sell people on the fight. He's like, nah, man, Pacquiao is one of the best pound for pound fighters. When you ask who's the best pound for pound fighter, it's Mayweather and Pacquiao. I already fought Mayweather and fought a good fight, came up a little short. Now I want to fight the other guy that people saying is the best pound for pound fighter, and Pacquiao. So he tried to sell a fight, and even me, I didn't buy into the fact. I didn't think like a lot of people thought that Pacquiao was gonna get destroyed. I thought Pacquiao, based on what I've seen in his previous fight, I said it's gonna be a good fight because he's got great hand speed. And he can, you know, and he's very quick, and he's gonna cause De La Hoya some problems. But I thought the weight and his punches, I didn't think his punches would be enough to keep De La Hoya off of him, because I noticed in the Diaz fight that he didn't have the same pop that he had in the lower weights. So I said he's gonna be able to land some shots on De La Hoya, but it's not gonna be nothing to keep De La Hoya off of him. De La Hoya gonna eventually walk through those punches and put the pressure on him, and you know, and be able to catch him with his famous left hook and maybe stop Pacquiao in the second half of that fight. That's what I thought was gonna happen. I thought it was gonna be much more competitive than other people. Other people were like, man, this fight gonna be a big mismatch. It's gonna be a massacre. A lot of people thought before that fight. And when the fight took place, Pacquiao from round one overwhelmed Oscar De La Hoya with his hand speed, his in and out combinations, jumping in and out with the 1-2 combination. Then this was the first fight that I noticed that he was, you know, throwing punches from different angles and stuff like that, and kind of using the footwork to kind of keep De La Hoya at bay. And with his quickness of hands, he just bewildered Oscar De La Hoya. He actually was backing Oscar De La Hoya up. De La Hoya was supposed to be the bigger fight, and he actually was backing up Oscar De La Hoya. Had him on the ropes, and then going to the body, going up top, landing beautiful combination. Made Oscar De La Hoya quit on his stool. I think maybe round 7 or something like that. It was in the first half of the fight. Made De La Hoya quit. And from that point on, everybody was like, okay, now it's established that the two best fighters in boxing are Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao. And that's what everybody started wanting to see that fight. They asked Pacquiao after the De La Hoya win, that, you know, do you want to fight Mayweather? And, you know, Pacquiao in his humble voice said, yeah, you know, I'm willing to fight anybody. I want to fight the best, you know, and if the fight can be made, we can make it happen. But as we know, that was the beginning of the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao saga. It would be years later before they actually got in the ring, and that's when both of them were, you know, past their prime. But saying that, Manny Pacquiao has a great career, a great resume. You know, he beat De La Hoya, then he moved up and destroyed Miguel Cotto. And this was when Miguel Cotto was you know, fighting at a high level, very high level. I think it was probably after Cotto got beat by Margarita, and it was, you know, widely you know, viewed that fight was a fight that Margarita was loading his gloves up. As you look at the pictures and stuff like that they took after that fight when he was raising his hands after he stopped Cotto, You know, they said, you know, you can see the plaster on the pictures. But Cotto and his trainer, you know, they must inspect those hand wraps before the fight. You got to have somebody on your team looking at the other guy wrapping his hands. You know, Sugar Shane Mosley had Nassim Richardson in Margarita's dressing room before they fight, and he saw that he was loading his hands up with plaster, and they eventually got him to rewrap those hands, and he had to rewrap those wraps without the plaster, and you saw what happened. Sugar Shane Mosley destroyed him in the L.A. Staples Center. But Pacquiao beat him after he lost to Margarita. He had a couple of good wins, and he fought Pacquiao. I think he beat Clottey. Cotto beat Clottey, so he had Clottey was a top 5 welterweight at the time. He beat him in a very close fight, and he got the Pacquiao fight. And Pacquiao absolutely was on fire in that fight. And Cotto was probably one of Cotto's best fights, even though he lost. He put up a great performance, but it just Manny Pacquiao overwhelmed him again with the hand speed, the combinations, and just the relentless ferocity that he showed. Man, he seemed like he would go into another gear if the fight was very close, very competitive, going back and forth. It seemed like Pacquiao had a 5th gear that he could go to, and other fighters just were on 3rd gear. He can go that 5th gear and kind of overwhelm fighters. He seemed like he got stronger as the fighter go. When you thinking like in the second half of the fight, both fighters is kind of slowing down. There's a lot of grabbing, a lot of hugging. No, Pacquiao still fresh. He's actually gaining momentum as the fight goes on. The other guy might be slowing down a little bit. He's actually gaining momentum. They going from 3rd gear, maybe the 2nd gear. He's going from 3rd gear to 4th gear to 5th gear. And that's how he was able to kind of overwhelm Cotto. He ended up stopping Cotto in the 12th round of a great fight. So the resume is there, man. He's definitely, to me, a top 10 fighter of all time, but I can't put him number 1, and I can't make an argument for him number 1. My number 1 guy, let me do the list. My number 1 guy is Muhammad Ali, number 1. Sugar Ray Robinson, number 2. Joe Louis, number 3. Jack Johnson, number 4. Okay. Floyd Mayweather, number 5. Pernell Whitaker, number 6. Larry Holmes, number 7. Number 7. Jack Dempsey, number 8. Manny Pacquiao, number 9. And Roberto Duran, number 10. That's my top 10 right there. And then you got Marvin Hagler, number 11. And Lennox Lewis, number 12. Both of them guys can make an argument for being in the top 10, but they right outside my top 10. Hagler at 11, Lennox Lewis at number 12. But Manny Pacquiao definitely is not number 1, and I definitely cannot, unlike Max Kellerman, I cannot make an argument for him being number 1. Not a credible argument. And he said you can, but I can't put him over there. He lost to Floyd Mayweather. Again, Manny Pacquiao is an 8-time champion, so he set that record there. No other fighters on this list have been 8-time champions. So you got to give him credit for that. The guy started his career off in I think in strawweight or whatever the weight class lower than strawweight. That's where he started his career out, and then he moved up and became the lineal champion at flyweight. So the guy has had a great career, moved up and kept moving up in weight. And he seemed like he gained power moving up in weight. A lot of people, when they move up in weight, they lost power. And I thought that was the case when he moved up to lightweight. I said, well, he looked like he lost some of his pop, but it seemed like when he went up to 147, the power and the pop came back, man. And you have to get, and that's something that's never been seen before in boxing. So that's definitely goes into one of the reasons why I put him in my top 10 pound for pound of all time. But I can't put him at number 1. But let's look at what he just did, man. He beat Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman was the number 3 welterweight behind Terrence Bud Crawford and Keith one-time Thurman. And I had Keith. He was number 3 welterweight behind Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. And Manny Pacquiao beat him. So Manny Pacquiao right now is the number 3 heavyweight, number 3 welterweight right now behind Bud and Errol. You can make a case that he's probably number 1 based on what he's done at 147. He beat Thurman. He beat who else he beat? He beat Thurman. He beat Broner, and he beat Mathise. Now Errol Spence beat Kell Brook and beat Lamar Peterson, and Bud Crawford beat Joe Horn and beat who else he beat? Amir Khan. So who's got the best win out of them 3? Pacquiao beat Thurman. Thurman is probably better than anybody that, Thurman and Kell Brook, that's interesting. Right? Kell Brook at that time and Thurman at that time. That'd be a 50-50 fight. So maybe you can, look at that. Maybe Errol Spence maybe have the better win. That's debatable. But Joe Horn and Keith Thurman, nope. Can't put Joe Horn over Keith Thurman. And then you look at Amir Khan, you can't put him over Keith Thurman either. So he arguably got a argument that he is the #1 welterweight right now. So that just adds on to him being top 10 pound for pound of all time. Can't put him #1. Once again, can't put him #1 and can't argue for him to be #1. Because them top 5 to me is rock solid. There's no way I can put him in that top 5. Like I said, that top 5 is rock solid. Let me go back over it again. Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis, Jack Johnson, and Floyd Mayweather. He can't crack that top 5. He's definitely top 10. So that's just what I say. Max on Boxing, ESPN guru, made that argument today, and he's made that argument last year. He thought that he rated Manny Pacquiao ahead of Floyd Mayweather on the pound for pound of all time list. He actually made that argument last year. Now he's going a step further and said you could not only is he better than Floyd Mayweather, best pound for pound ever, but you can make an argument that he's the best pound for pound fighter ever, period, over all the greats. So he's took it a step further based on his win over Keith Thurman. I think he's getting caught up in the moment, and not really looking at all the fighters' resume and how they looked at their best and the competition and stuff like that. Manny Pacquiao's got a hell of a resume, but so do those other guys too. And like I said, one of those guys, if you got a loss to one of the guys that's in the top 10, it's going to be hard for you to be #1. You got a loss. Joe Louis ain't got no loss to nobody in that top 10. Manny Pacquiao does. Floyd Mayweather don't have a loss to nobody in that top 10. Manny Pacquiao does. Muhammad Ali don't got a loss to nobody in that top 10. Manny Pacquiao does. See what I'm saying? So you can't be #1 when you've got a loss to another guy that's arguably in the top 5 pound for pound of all time. You lost to Floyd Mayweather, and then in your loss, it wasn't like it was some close split decision where Pacquiao fight could have went either way. If that's the case, you can say, well, I thought Pacquiao won that fight. No, he got beat soundly. I gave Pacquiao 3 rounds in that fight, 3 rounds. And I gave Floyd 9, so he won that fight 9-3. That's a unanimous decision, and that's a clear-cut win. So he hurt Floyd Mayweather once in that fight early. I think it was the 3rd round. But when Floyd figured him out, and he used that jab to keep him off balance, and every time Pacquiao would get close, he would grab him, make Pacquiao reset, and then put that jab in his face, straight rights and stuff like that, and he was able to just outbox Manny Pacquiao and win a comfortable unanimous decision. So based on that and that alone, I can't put Pacquiao ahead of Mayweather, and I can't put him in the top, put him #1 over those other guys when they don't have a loss to a guy that's ranked in that top 10. That's just my thoughts on it, and responding to what Max Kellerman said about Manny Pacquiao. You guys can leave comments in the comment section about what you think, who would be your top 10, or do you agree with Max that Manny Pacquiao is #1? Does Manny Pacquiao have a strong argument to be the best pound for pound fighter ever? Do you agree with Max Kellerman on that argument? He wasn't saying that he was, but he was #1. But he said he has a credible argument to be the best pound for pound fighter ever. Do you agree with Max Kellerman, or do you agree with me that he's a top 10, but not #1, and doesn't have an argument to be to me to be even in the top 5? Somewhere toward the lower end of the top 10, yes, you can put Manny Pacquiao there. He has a strong argument as far as that, and he's actually on my top 10. I got him #9, right above the great Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. So that's just my opinion on it, man, and I'd like to hear you guys' opinion on it. If you want to, just leave a comment in the comment section. I'm about to get up out of here, get a little rest, and watch a little TV, and I'll be back with you with another video. And shortly, it might not be tonight, might probably be tomorrow. I'll be back with you with another video, and just give me your opinion on this situation about Manny Pacquiao being the best pound for pound fighter ever, according to Max, having a credible argument of being the best pound-for-pound fighter ever. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. Holla.